Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm here. There's Garrett and also our boy 3G himself, Greg Henson. Hello, Greg.
Hey, guys. How are you?
I'm doing good.
How's the
All
weather
right.
down there in the Phoenix?
It was brutal, dude. It was actually like 50 degrees when I took little man to school today. And it was like,
Really?
this is just outrageous. Yeah, because it was like 75 yesterday, 78,
Yeah.
sunny. So
Isn't that the
it
good
was a
time
real
of the
bummer.
year down there?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think I woke
Yeah.
up to 9, feels like 3.
Yeah.
Me
Well,
too.
we're getting the problem is you're getting to the time of year now where you could play the boulders in the summer for $60, go play 18 for $60 and or the TPC where the open just was, you could play that in the summer for nothing. We're getting to the time of year where it's like, oh yeah, it's $1,000. It's $600 a round. You're like, so yeah, it's awesome, but everybody knows it and everybody comes to town during these
Right.
heavy winter months,
And
so
spring training, right? Spring training's there.
spring train. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, spring training will take place soon enough. So how was your Super Bowl? Did we have a good Super
Bland
Bowl?
and boring, like the game and everything around it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. So I was talking to Amy yesterday about it, and obviously the game sucked, but I feel dumb because I knew Kansas City was that big of a fraud. I knew it all year. And I didn't pop off on social media like I did with the Vikings a couple years ago. I was like, this is the biggest fraud 14-win team in league history. Don't
Right.
buy it. And they got bounced in the first round. But Kansas City all year was like, this team's a fucking fraud. This team is not. And it finally showed its ass when they played a real defense and in the Eagles. And they, I shouldn't have been surprised.
I think the AFC is overrated. But they did beat Buffalo, who I think everyone thought was the best team.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mahomes just had a shit day, and the Eagle defensive line they didn't blitz. They didn't blitz him and sacked him
six times.
I
think it was 6.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was another
0 blitzes, dude.
Yep. 0 blitzes.
When are people going to learn? That's the key to this league. If you can get home with a front four,
yes,
they're almost impossible to stop. Like you're going to be in every game. It's the brilliance of what the Lions built until everybody got hurt. It was like offensive and defensive line, start there and build out. Like that's the trick to this league. It really is.
I'm sorry, I just got accosted by Oyster because it's her time, and now she's. Hold on.
There she is.
Come here, girl. Oh, she's fighting me to come up my lap.
I think Cece's depressed. I haven't done much with her. Hi, Oyster. There she is. Oh, look at those ears go up. Hi, Oyster. Hi, sweet girl. Look at that roops. Oh, look at it. Oh, here comes. Okay. Come here.
Oh, here we go. Oh, it's an Aussie festival.
All right.
Look at your friend. If she's depressed, she needs to see her friend from Michigan, Oyster. She's a good girl.
Oh, there she is.
Look at us, couple of queers like Garrett.
Yep.
Yeah. It would be hard. You'd be hard pressed. There's actually one fag on the panel, and then
the one not holding right now.
The one not holding his baby like a fucking. Yeah.
I could try and get Pants at Ripley, but I'm pretty sure Ripley's passed out and Pants wants nothing to do with this.
There you go.
The best part about the Lions, and I'll tell you, it made me a little nervous about next year because the Eagles aren't going anywhere. But the best part about the Lions is they have the offensive line that can handle that defensive line. Hopefully, you know what I mean? They're kind of built for that.
Yeah. So, what do you think they do in the draft, by the way? Not to spend too much time on football and stuff. There's a lot going on. But what do you think they do? You think they go edge?
Unless they trade for Myles Garrett.
Dude, do you think that's a possibility? Like, that to me seems like such a no-brainer because I think you've said it before on this very show. The Lions have money.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
They've been very cautious to spend it, though, and to get outrageous because what they're doing is they're looking down the road saying, we got to re-sign Laporta. We got to re-sign, a couple of other guys. Hutch is going to need a new deal. Yeah. But I think they're going to go after edge in the draft, I think. but I think they would pull the trigger if they could get Garrett and maybe a restructure of his deal.
Yeah, what does he have? 2 years left
2 years, which is not
on the
bad.
contract? But the problem is, it's in a trade. They're not going to let him go without a lot of compensation. So his contract is one part of the story. The other part is getting him out of that deal, which is going to cost you what, 2 1s, a 1 and a 2.
I would trade 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, and they're not going to want to do it with the Lions because they're going to go, yeah, the Lions are good. You're talking about pick 28
Right.
at best.
Right. No,
So-
I agree.
So I don't know, but with
But you can
cash,
turn 2 28th picks into a top 10 maybe, or top 15.
yeah, it'd be tough. But if you threw cash in on it, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. But I think, when you're talking about edge rushers, like it's one of those positions you just don't really know. I guess maybe you do, but that guy's 27, prime of
Yep.
his career, and an absolute destroyer. There's a handful of guys in the NFL that you go, yeah, worth everything. Whatever you
Right.
like. Hutch is becoming one of those guys. He's only going to get better. Myles Garrett is one of them. Trey Hendrickson or whatever with the Bengals is one. There's a handful of these
I
guys
think
around the league.
Thibodeau's going to be there. Both Bosa's are in that
I-
area.
See, I wouldn't take Joey. Joey seems, I see more him on the sideline with a baseball hat on backwards more than
Both
anything.
Bosa's are hurt all the time.
Nick plays quite a bit. He, I follow him a lot, and he's someone that plays through some shit.
Yeah.
He's a tough kid. Every time I see Joey, though, he's on the sideline with a hat on. It is what it is, and it feels like, maybe that's not fair, but it feels like that's the case with him. Like whatever it is, he's constantly, rolled up. It's my concern with their running back. What's his name? The Niners running back, he's just injured. He had a great stretch for a year and a half, but his career has been nothing but so many injuries.
And I think
Christian McCaffrey, Jesus.
Yeah. And that's the thing you can do is you can counter Philly line's offensive line, and you can further counter them by having just as good a defensive line. The Eagles are built on both lines of scrimmage. I mean, look at them. They got a great offensive line. They got a great defensive line.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the way football's been played for 100 years. The lines win ball games.
Yeah. It all starts there.
Yeah, it all does. And that's the line's not good. When they got a defensive line that was average when they got Hutch alone, and then they started filling in some pieces with McNeil. I hope they're not going to try to ride into next year with Zadarius Smith and think just having him on that side with Hutch is going to make a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with him. He had moments. He had moments.
Fine.
And I'd be interested to see what he would look like with Hutch on the other side.
Well, they're going to draft an edge too.
Yeah. I've heard corner. I've heard edge. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but they're definitely locked up with. They're going to have to spend some money, but if you could get another edge, I don't even know who you'd compare that to in the league. Like who else? Like Kansas City has Chris Jones, and Chris Jones single-handedly won them the Super Bowl against the Niners. Single-handedly.
Right.
Absolutely. Hutch can do something like that. Like single-handedly take over a game, and Chris Jones took over against the was it the Rams game that he disrupted when they won the
I think so.
Or Aaron Donald can do that. Could do stuff like that. It's just, it is what it is. What did you make of the halftime show?
Here's the thing. I would love to rip Kendrick Lamar, but I have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids listen to him.
Yeah.
It's not, hip hop's not my bag. It never has been. I didn't like it just because I don't know what the expectation is for a guy like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just don't like that style of music. To me, it's talking over that stupid
Yeah.
they do.
I think that's our age.
Yeah,
I think there's I know a lot of the young people. My argument against that, and we've seen it the last couple of years, is what the Super Bowl is and who it's playing to. It seems like not the perfect fit. I'm not going to deny his ability. He's amazing. And
he's not a
all
stadium
that kind of
guy.
stuff. But the whole idea of like these anthemic stuff, and I was making the argument you could do that Bon Jovi Def Leppard Journey tour every rapper in the world has sampled those artists. And
Right.
so even the rap community would know those hooks. And you could make that work. Where the Kendrick Lamar, a lot of people are pointing to he's calling out a pedophile and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know that that's the forum for it.
And I don't care.
Not just that. It's him, like, anywhere. It's just he's not an arena guy. He's a low-key rapper. He's got a very soft voice. When he goes hard, it's not loud. He's not an aggressive guy. He doesn't have an arena tone. He doesn't have an arena style.
Yeah.
He's better for like a theater or a club.
Even people who are younger were disappointed, though. Like, my kids are 19 and 21.
Yeah.
And they were like, not his best performance. But they like it.
Regular show, yeah.
Yeah, they like it. And I don't I don't know. I just, when I see stuff like that, I shut out. I don't care. I like old school rap. I don't like the new hip hop stuff. The last 20 years is just, to me,
Yeah, I've watched a lot of I watched some stuff like, if you have to explain to me why this is important or great, I feel like it's not the right fit then for your audience almost. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you have to explain like, oh, this is why this was relevant and awesome. And
I think you could also make the I think you could also make the argument that country appeals to more people.
Yeah.
On a day like that. I mean, it's the biggest format in radio for a reason. I mean, they got some of the biggest stars in all of music right now. And I'm not diminishing Kendrick Lamar. I just don't know. But I mean, like Luke Combs and Post Malone and Morgan Wallen and all those guys, they could have put on a pretty rocking show that would have appealed to a broader audience. But again, I hate the bitching about the halftime show every year.
Yeah.
I turned to my wife right after kickoff, and I said, that halftime show sucked, because you knew that's what everyone was going to say, right?
Yeah. What did she think? Did she love it?
Who?
Your wife.
Oh, she didn't know anything of no.
Yeah.
She's a weirdo punk rocker.
I stand firm on like I've never been a country fan. I purposely go out of my way to not listen to it for fear that I'll like it, and then I've got to listen to country music and pick up on all that. But I fully understand why Garth Brooks makes sense on a Super Bowl stage. Like, I totally get that. I understand why those stadium anthemic choruses work with that kind of audience. But whatever, Jay-Z's in charge of, those shows the last few years, and that's what you're getting. But I was interested to hear what you thought as a radio guy, as a programmer. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm hearing everywhere. But before we get to stories, I did want to mention Deer Lake Athletic Club. I know they're probably in the bar right now watching. So hi, everyone there. They like to get shit-faced and watch us.
Okay.
Deer Lake Athletic Club in Clarkston, full gym.
Watch the show.
Of course, fitness classes, 3 pools, swim lessons, tennis, pickleball, childcare. Of course, lots more. The Backcourt Restaurant inside Deer Lake Athletic Club. Weekly specials like Taco Tuesday, Quizzo every Wednesday. Kids meals for just $5 on Thursdays, along with Wednesday and Thursday dinner specials. Live entertainment on Fridays and Saturdays. Breakfast on Sundays, 10 to 1 with a Bloody Mary bar and bottomless mimosas. They also offer a special Sunday menu after 1. Need to book an event? Their banquet director, Emily, can fill you in on all the details. Give them a call. It's 248-625-8686 or visit 6167 White Lake Road in Clarkston. Or you can visit their website at deerlakeathletic.com for more info. The Deer Lake Athletic Club, one club for the entire family.
Wait, they're getting ripped at an athletic club?
Oh, yeah.
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 Pretty good bar.
It's great. The food's great. The staff is awesome. They're big listeners. So yeah, I found out they put us on the TV there. They have it on the big screen when we're on. I'm like, I don't know how you can even do that. And they're like, yeah, when Amy's on, we put it on the 65-inch screen. So we're probably on the smaller screen now. I can't blame them for that. So
yeah.
But either way, I thought this was interesting, sticking in the rap category before we get to Doge and all they're doing, Greg, because I'm definitely interested in your thoughts on that. Did you see Charlemagne the God? That's the last time I'll mention him by name. Of course, he's Leonard McKelvey is his real name, and I'm not going to call a grown man Charlemagne the God.
Yeah.
So Lenny and his Breakfast Club decided to have Dank DeMoss in studio today. Did you see that?
What's Dank DeMoss?
Dank DeMoss is the rapper from Detroit who's like 5 bills and is suing Lyft now.
Oh, yeah, the one who couldn't get into the Lyft. Yeah, I see her.
Yeah. So they decided to have her in studio today to
I
discuss.
did see this.
So go ahead and play it. Well, actually, let me set it up. So
Okay.
she filed the lawsuit in Detroit last month after filming her interaction with the driver in question. It got so much attention that Leonard and his team here with the Breakfast Club were like, "Oh, she's a rapper too. Let's have her in studio." So they had her in studio this morning, and let's check it out.
Hey, King, how you, brother? You good? Nice to meet you, King.
Got it. Yep. This the only seat y'all got?
Oh, jeez.
What you want? What you need?
You're not helping your case,
A
lady.
bigger chair or something.
Is she already little?
We had
That's what I'm talking about. Good. This is accommodation.
there you go.
They had to bring the couch over.
You know, you walked in and you said the chair was too small, so we had to bring the part of the sectional for you to sit in. And you said something. You said, "Now this is what I'm talking about: accommodations." Right?
Yes.
But we live in a world that's not always going to be able to accommodate people that
But
are
we
plus
should
size.
though. We should because we not all the same. You know. I feel like we should. Like why not? I feel
That's
like
not how it works.
I feel like a lot of times people think that bigger people, obese, the F word people should just be in a house.
F word.
When it's like
The
we
F
not.
word?
Yeah, the F word. I'm not
You
about
heard
to.
that you can't say in your house.
Yeah.
Faggot.
You don't like.
Oh.
I'm not saying that word.
Yeah, we don't use that word in my house
Okay.
either.
I thought you were talking about the gay
Ass.
slur. I'm like, wait, I'm confused.
No.
now.
But I just feel like it should be accommodated. Bigger people should be accommodated, just like we accommodate the LGBT community. All those other communities. I just feel like we outside. If we inside is get up. Why you in a house? You should be doing this. You should be doing that. When
No
we
one's ever said
outside, it's
that.
like, why you not in a house?
Well, people
Why are
would
you
say-
out here?
Okay, John.
Who actually told you that? Because, like,
No
that's
one.
crazy. I don't believe that,
Yeah.
F people should stay in the house. I mean, but.
That's how it is. We go outside and people looking at us crazy, like we getting
Yeah,
stared
you're
at.
$5
for
bills,
what?
lady.
Because we big.
All right, good enough. Good enough.
Like
Do you believe this? I mean, by the way, first off, this is like when the day for the court case comes, I would just present this and be like, yeah, they had to pull up a sectional for this idiot to have a seat. Like, what you expected this fucking whale of a human being to fit in this poor guy's car? Are you kidding me?
Well, the thing that bothers me most is we're supposed to normalize this shit, and that's why
No.
Trump won.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's
Yeah.
why he won, because people see through this stupidity. Number one, this woman shouldn't even have a voice.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just an ignorant idiot, and we've normalized them having a voice because of social media. The other thing is when you get on here and you compare yourself to LGBTQ, that's fine. People are rejecting that as well right now. People
Yep.
don't want the special anything for everyone, because it went
Yeah.
from we just want to be treated equal to now we want special treatment.
That when
Yeah.
she said that whole thing about like, oh, we just want to be just like the LGBT whatever, like we just want like the same. It's like, no, I don't want that. I want to be treated like everybody else. I want to
Right.
just be a normal fucking person who goes about my day.
Right. And the other thing is, what are her rap lyrics? Because
Probably
she
about
won't-
being fat.
She
I don't know.
She won't say the F word, fat, but
Yeah.
she'll say kill that bitch and bang
Yeah.
your daddy, and I mean whatever the hell they're saying. Screw that.
Yeah, it's
People are
just
so-
so. It's I don't know. She hasn't gotten the memo yet that this isn't
No.
going to fly.
It's over. It's over.
Yeah,
Trump's in
I'm
office
seeing
now.
it. I'm seeing it everywhere I go, man. You pull up in the first 50 rows of spaces at any location, name it, around me anyways. It's like, oh, reserved park. I'm like, I don't recognize that symbol. What is that? It's like, oh, reserved for family with children. And this one's reserved for handicap. This one's reserved for a fucking trans person. You're like, what are we doing? What?
My grocery store on the corner now has 6 spots for Starbucks.
Yeah.
My grocery store, and I'm like, fuck you, man. I spend more than these little white women from Grand Valley State. I'm parking here. And
Yeah.
I pull right into it every time. I'm like, no way. We're not doing
Yeah.
this.
Dude, that's funny. I did the same thing. That I went to some I don't know, some Greek sandwich restaurant. I was on other side of town and I was like, oh, I'll try this, and pulled in, and it's like there's no spots. It's a big lot. But T-Mobile has a thing like, oh, this is reserved for T-Mobile parking. I was like, yeah, go fuck yourself, T-Mobile. I just pulled in and went into the restaurant. I was like, yeah, no, there's no law enforcement here.
Sue
I don't
me.
even, yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. And nobody did anything, but it's like, this, it's the same thing on a plane. You can
Yeah.
have a first class ticket. It's like, yeah, you're in section 3 now. We've got to let every idiot on before you, and it started with the military guys, which fine. I don't have a problem with that. And,
No.
but it's down to like, oh, anybody with a limp, anyone with a kid, anyone with a
Right.
fucking service animal, anyone with anyone who's having a rough day, anyone
Right.
who's feeling depressed this month, you can now board. And it's like,
Are you on your period?
yeah, feel free to board now. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you've taken everything special away from this.
Right.
It's
It's
just
bullshit.
outrageous.
I'm not playing these games anymore. I went to the gas station the other day, and okay, I don't know if this person's trans or not. She might be. Her name's Katie, but she looks like a dude. I don't know. I'm supposed to guess. And she said something. I go, "Thank you, man." And she goes, "Well, I'm not a man." And I'm like, "Well," I said, "Sometimes I say man to my wife too." So no, but I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
care.
I hate
It doesn't
that.
matter. Fucking
Yep.
whatever.
Let's
Dude,
stop with it already.
Yeah.
At that point, it's on the trans person. Just go, yeah, man, whatever. Don't care. Just walk away.
Right.
I love that it's kind of fallen apart all over everything. I missed this story. I saw it last night with Dana White,
Mhm.
UFC guy. You remind me of Dana White without the money.
We're all bald.
Yeah, but just like kind of like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Like, and this was my biggest thing. I've been saying it for years. Every time some athlete says something, and now Adidas needs to come out. No, at Adidas, we feel that it's smart. And I'm like, why are you saying anything? Everybody knows that some guy wearing your cleats does
Right.
not mean he has all the views that. And by the way, Adidas, you don't necessarily speak for everybody that works for you or is part of your boardroom. Like
Yeah.
you've like, you don't need to come out and apologize and make your stance clear. We assume you don't hate people,
Right.
like based on their characteristics they can't control. Like can we just all agree with that? But these people, Dana White went off on someone. He slammed a guy named Bevan Shields, editor of the Sydney Morning Herald, at a media conference in Sydney on Sunday. So we were all paying attention to the Super Bowl when this was going on around here. So the journalist expressed outrage at this barbaric sport. He's pissed that the government is getting involved and, donating money and bringing the UFC to Australia. And so this guy has pearl clutching article talking about how barbaric this sport is and blah, blah, blah. And
Right.
Dana White, it's like, this is what I've been waiting for, is people to go, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. So go ahead, Garrett.
Strickland and the New South Wales government, obviously all the media and stuff and the outrage, obviously you laughed about the other day with what you put on your story with the newspaper, which...
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, most of us do. It's ridiculous. We don't even like the paper here. But
listen, for a place that is so tough and the people... Everything on land and the water can kill you.
Exactly.
You have the biggest pussies I've ever seen in the media in my life. I saw a story where a guy was like, I saw Dana do a podcast with the premiere and it physically made me sick. Holy fucking shit. You guys have to have the biggest pussies of all time in the media here. Just for the record. But go ahead. What's the question?
the question is, does anyone in the government at all go, please not Strickland, or does that ever get back?
All right.
There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that great?
It is.
We're done. We're not pretending to be outraged by people doing what they. It's so. I just welcome all of it.
Well, you know what? The best part is you're seeing this in the government right now with the AID office, the office.
Yeah,
of aid.
USAID. Yeah,
And the Democrats are standing out front having a fit, and everyone's going, "Shut up, go home. No one
Yeah.
cares anymore. We're not doing it anymore. It's over."
Yeah.
You
dude,
know?
it is. Yeah, and I've got a bunch of Doge stuff today. I am beside myself with this. I don't understand the argument of looking under the hood and going, yeah, what are we doing here? And then
what the argument is? It's a colossal grift. It always has been.
I know, I understand that, but I don't know why they're still standing on this perch like democracy's on the line. Like, where is that argument working? I guess I see the people on Facebook. It's working with some people.
Well, it's going to work with the people who want to have it work, who are begging it to work. But like the constitutional crisis thing ain't working. There's no constitutional crisis. No one believes that shit. And, I just don't know why people are so afraid to look under the hood. We do it in every aspect of our life. And then we're getting stories about people who are laid off who thought they had jobs forever. And I'm thinking, welcome to the real fucking world. People get laid off every day, man. Sorry, you have to go to get a LinkedIn page. You're not going to be able to grift the whole life off the government.
Not to mention 8 months salary and benefits.
Right.
Dude, that is like contracted employees get that kind of treatment. I have a 3-year deal, and after 2 years, you decide, like in the radio world, we're all familiar with this, and it's called being on the beach. And they cut your contract and, we're going in a different direction. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, I got a 3-year deal. Like, you pay those people out. But most people, it's like, bye. Why am I fired? Because the sky's blue. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, and that's just it. These people don't understand. There are companies who will change your contract midstream and say, yeah, you're no longer getting this.
Yeah.
And either you sign a new one or you don't.
Dude, they did that to me. Greater Media did that to me when Jamie came on board.
Yeah. What'd they do?
Oh God, dude! I went from hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to a couple $100,000 a year. When it was like, we got this guy who's a sports guy, because I was doing the sports and I had no business doing it. I was, I didn't know what I was doing, and it was just like, okay, I guess I'll do it, And so, but that was like in the contract details. It was like, hey, if Drew's off for an extended period of time, Mark and Mike's roles change, and then they, bonus structures change, salary changed.
Wait,
and
they put Jamie on your show?
Yeah, he was on with Mike in the morning for a year or something. And so it was like, let's get a credible, and Podell was friends with Jamie and brought him in. And it was just like, and I remember talking to my agent, like, well, I'm under contract. Drew still isn't back. What the fuck is this? And it was just like, yeah, they were going in this direction. It was like, oh, okay, take it or leave it.
Right. Right.
It was just like, okay, I guess that's the way this goes. Like, what am I going to do about it? Cry on social media, bitch about it? Like, no, it's not how it works. So the Doge thing, there, some of these stories, the one that broke yesterday, I guess it was, or the day before, talking about, we just looked and saw that they sent out payment $59 million to these luxury hotels in New York to house illegal immigrants. And that went out after the executive order that Trump said, cut all of it. We're not doing this bullshit anymore. And so this was a direct violation of that executive order. And heads have rolled now. They were like,
4 people.
We'll get to, 4 people gone, including the chief financial officer of FEMA, Mary Comans, gone. Fuck out of here. You want to fuck around? Find out. So, 3 others.
Millions, wasn't she too?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? And who knows what kind of back end stuff was going on. Effective immediately, FEMA is terminating the employment of 4 individuals for circumventing leadership to unilaterally make egregious payments for New York City hotels for migrants. That was Tricia McLaughlin said, the assistant DHS. Firings include FEMA's CFO, 2 program analysts, and a grant specialist. Comans and her team are arguably the most, I would say were arguably the most powerful group at FEMA. They are no longer, because they are gone now, as they control its billions of dollars in funding. Sending this money violated the law and is in gross insubordination to the president's executive order. That money is meant for American disaster relief, and instead is being spent on high-end hotels for illegals. I love it. And I don't understand the people that have an issue with this. John Kennedy came out and said USAID gave money to support electric vehicles in Vietnam with our taxpayer money. USAID gave money to a transgender clinic in India. I didn't know that. I bet the American people didn't know that. Musk also found 1.5 million given to Serbian LGBT organizations. They got the money to advance DEI in Serbian workplaces and business communities. USAID spent $164 million to support radical organizations around the world. Of that, they gave $122 million to groups aligned with foreign terrorist organizations. Nancy Mace said USAID awarded $750,000 to fund alleviating loneliness among migrant garment workers in India.
Loneliness
Among Indian garment workers.
Why don't they play him some slow jams?
Holy shit. How do you even with a straight face go up in front of the American public and act like this is something we need to be outraged about?
Well, they ignore all of what you just do and grab onto one thing about big balls having access.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This kid who's 19 years old. They ignore all the grift and all the money going out and say, but big balls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you get. It's
the big balls thing, by the way. Okay, you're talking about a 19-year-old kid, I think he was.
Yep.
Big balls.
Well, he's back, by the way.
Yeah. I have that story. It's great. JD Vance getting into it with Rokana is awesome. But the big balls thing, I don't understand people that would want to live in a world that don't understand how 19-year-old adolescent boys behave and act and talk amongst themselves. You're so asking people to, when it's be your authentic self, except if you're a male.
Right.
You don't want a male to be their authentic self, because I don't know the male that didn't grow up in some level ball busting with their buddies or claiming, I got a big
I get
ball.
paid to do it. I get paid to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what you're asking of them. And I don't know how you can't see further down the road that, you know what, you're going to have children at one point too. You're probably going to have a son at some point. And do you want to set the precedent that they have a nickname like Big Balls at 19 years old, and that should devastate the remainder of their career?
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. They do this all the time. And who didn't think that was funny to have a funny online name when they were 16, 17 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 23 or 28.
Or 40.
I'm pretty sure my friend group currently in most video games is Dumb Cumpster, Kitty Inspector, and Adolf Schittler.
Yeah. Dude, but you got to understand that doesn't make people like it's such a stretch to go to the next level. That means they're all of this stuff. So the Rokana, it was Marco Alez. He's 25.
Right.
He used a now deactivated X account to post a series of racist messages. Those posts, the posts included comments such as, "Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. You could not pay me to marry outside my ethnicity and normalize Indian hate." Now, I don't know why we need to explain to them what it means to be finding your voice as an adolescent.
Or to think you're funny.
Or to think you're funny.
Get attention. Or to try to get attention.
Or to be brave or controversial or to stand out amongst the group.
It's okay to be a 500-pound fat chick who can't sit in a chair, but don't be a dumb kid who writes normalized Indian hate. I mean, obviously you don't want anyone hating anyone, but you know what? You're allowed to hate people. It's not illegal. It's not illegal to hate people. You just can't hurt them.
I feel the same way every time I see these posts, and I just want to go, just tap me on the shoulder when they do something illegal. That's when I want to get involved. Wake me up when they break the law. And I would say the same. And believe it or not, the ACLU used to have this stance. I don't agree with anything they say, but I'll argue their right to say it. That used to be what we all understood. It's okay, the KKK went and got their permit for this weekend to come march through your streets, and everybody stood on their porch and went, boo. Yeah. And then they quietly fucked off. And it's let me know when they start burning down, putting burning crosses and intimidating people or beating people up. until then, like, that's the point. They're allowed to have that free speech. I don't know.
I tell people all the time when they're like, "Oh, I don't want Nazis in my neighborhood." I'm like, dude, I wish the Nazis in my neighborhood would fly the flag. That way I know where they're at, and I have a legal right to protect myself. So if they want to come and hurt me,
yeah,
I can kill a Nazi. Like, it's a win-win.
You know, and you don't know what's going on in people's houses. They can be Nazis all they want in their own house,
dude.
And I don't care till you cross the violence line.
I know the thing that's funny to me, and I don't know if you've run into this, Greg, but I've run into this a lot, and I see a lot of people make Facebook posts and they're beside themselves, and like they're going to be the ultimate defender of this marginalized group or that marginalized group. I personally know some people that are super progressive, and
usually basic white women.
Well, there's those. I know men too that are like this. And I remember them in high school. And I remember when they were going through edgy phases. And I remember some of the stuff they said and some of the stuff they wore. And they would be out of careers if that stuff was known, made public, if pictures were around, period. We have the luxury of that stuff not being well documented. And it's like, I don't know how these people don't see, like, hey, bro, that was fucking you when you were 17 years old. That was you that was making an argument for Nazis, bro, trying to find your voice, trying to understand how the world works, kind of going through it, thinking you're being out there and radical and edgy. It's just part of growing up.
I don't usually care about what people say.
Yeah.
We've forgotten the whole worry about what people do, not what they say. You know, we've forgotten the sticks and stones argument. Everything's violence and microaggressions, and it's so stupid. That's just a world I'm sad my kids have to grow up in.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is young kids are turning on this shit. They are.
Did you see Trump's numbers with young people?
Oh, through the roof.
Week?
His numbers with everyone are pretty.
Yeah.
But
amazing,
18 plus crowd, 18 to 30. I think they're 29.
Yeah.
60% approved. They're tired of it. They're tired of it.
Good for them.
They're finally starting to pay taxes. That's what it is.
Well, and not just that, is they're sick of the society being feminized.
Yeah.
To the point where we're always trying to appease the feminine among us. And no one's doing that anymore. Just shut up and do your job. Do what you do.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know how we got there. And I think it was politeness. Just like, okay, I guess I'll watch what I say and do.
Right.
And trying to be respectful, but it gets to a point where it goes too far.
Well, then they forced you to be polite.
Right. Yeah. And took, when they went after comedians and took humor off the table, that's where I was just like, okay, fuck all of you.
I have a 27-year-old producer of my show / he's our co-host and stuff, but I played him some Sam Kinison last week, and he's like, "Oh, you guys were so lucky."
Yeah.
Because then I played him some Dice Clay and some old Eddie Murphy, and I said, you know, you guys can never have this.
Yeah,
it's coming back a little bit.
Little bit. I mean, Shane Gillis can get a little edgy.
Shafir's last special, it wasn't even that edgy, but he managed to find a way to work a Holocaust joke in the end that fucking hit.
Well, and David Chappelle stands up for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's still the fight going on. So JD Vance came out in defense. So the Doge guy, was it Big Balls that they fired?
Yes.
Or that resigned. He resigned, and then Musk said, "Hey, what do you think? Should we bring this guy back?"
Big Balls.
Yeah. And like 73% of respondents in the poll said, "Yeah, bring him back." You know, JD Vance weighed in, and this is important because his wife is Indian, his kids are half Indian. He said, so JD Vance said, "We shouldn't reward journalism or journalists who try to destroy people ever. So I say bring him back. If he's a bad dude or a terrible member of the team, fire him for that." That didn't sit well with Ro Khanna, who directly challenged Vance. So typical. "Are you going to tell him to apologize for saying normalize Indian hate before this rehire? Just asking for the sake of both of our kids." One of those Ro Khan is here to be the hero for the children. JD Vance said, for the sake of both of our kids, grow up. Racist trolls on the internet, while offensive, don't threaten my kids. You know what does? A culture that denies grace to people who make mistakes. A culture that encourages congressmen to act like whiny children. You disgust me.
Hell yeah.
Dude, this idea
This
of going
winning me.
toe-to-toe with JD Vance is a problem. It is
Not
a
smart.
problem. Not smart. No, it's like Ro Khan tweeted back, saying I'm whiny and you disgust me. Maybe your way of showing strength. Personally, I don't think you have to hurl insults or be mean-spirited to have a free exchange of ideas. Our country at its best was not like that. And you at your best were not either.
Our country at its best, we used to shoot each other at our best.
Our country at its best was about as racist as it can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why there's got to be a fine line. And I'm talking about when the country was strong and powerful in World War II and post-World War II.
Yeah.
And they were racist as hell. We're not racist anymore. This is the least racist country on the planet.
Yeah.
And so you want to, you can say that all you want, but the fact of the matter is this country is not.
No.
Dude, growing up, the only thing I ever heard was it was the Great American Melting Pot because we were the one country that was every country.
Right.
Well,
so now you're telling me I'm racist.
The Wall Street Journal tried to get this kid like, they were doing some real journalisming and look what we found. Like these people need to be fucking, I don't even know what. These are the people that you need to go after. The ones that are desperately digging in for the gotcha moment to burn everybody's career down.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important when these guys go, hey, by the way, before we just try to paint someone as like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. What do you guys think about this person who's an extremely talented, brilliant, engineer, by the way, at 20 years old?
Hey, I want more autistic kids in my government.
Yeah.
Because these guys are fucking smart.
They're unbelievable. And so, Musk is like, maybe the Wall Street Journal needs to shit can this reporter that's going. And I agree, man.
Maybe they wanted journalism unless it's digging into what Doge is doing positive.
Dude, 100%. Musk called Long, what's her name? It's something Long. The reporter there called her disgusting and cruel, demanding she be fired, fueling accusations that he is using his platform to bully the press. Yeah. You know what? Bully the bullies. These people are bullies. Let's be crystal clear about what they're doing. That's what they are. And to your point, Greg, it's not lost on me. Okay. I was looking at this story here. When it first dropped that Doge discovered $59 million in payments going to high-end New York hotels to pay for illegals to be housed there. And I was like, is this story being covered? So the New York Post was covering that story. So I Googled it. I want to see what the algorithm is sending people. KPIC, I don't even know where that is. That must be west of the Mississippi. But Newsmax, the Express Tribune had this story. Breaking the News had this story. Shore News Network had this story. Live Mint or Live Mint, I don't know what that is, had that story. Those that did not have that story. So think about that. 59 million of your taxpayer dollars being sent to this bullshit in New York. That's not a story, really. The New York Times did not cover that. The Washington Post, NBC, ABC, CBS, Politico, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, LA Times, Chicago Tribune, Houston Chronicle. Those are your biggest media outlets in America. None of them covered that story.
They don't want to.
It's incredible.
Well, there was a water skiing squirrel that day.
Yeah.
Right.
But the funny part is Politico will take all that money from subscriptions from the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. That's why they're bought and paid for. They're not. These people are so dishonest. It's corrupt as hell.
But the problem is, I see the people on Facebook who are getting a different set of reporting, and so you almost can't blame. You can blame them because, dude, you gotta you got to pay attention to what's going on also. I think you made that argument. I think it's a fair one. Like, fuck you. At some point, this is on you
Right.
to do a little research. We're telling you, you're not getting the other half of that story. No one's hiding anything. It's as simple as that. And so you tell me if that's news or not. I'm going to tell you that it is. That's news. When 59 million of your taxpayer dollars are being thrown for illegal immigrants to be housed in New York City high rises or luxury apartments or hotels, that's a news story.
Well, it's news because 4 people got fired.
Yeah.
For doing it and violate. It's not only news, it's insubordination and it's corrupt.
Yeah.
You know, these people thought they were going to get away with it again. And it's over.
I love that this video resurfaced. Garrett, if you could pull it up, that Jon Stewart, did you see the video?
No.
Do you remember this? This went around last year, I believe. And he was talking to, Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks. And so a lot of people are giving him credit. And this resurfaced. I remember this at the time. I don't remember if we played this or not, but take a listen to this exchange. And I think this says a lot.
To be doing, like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these.
Please educate me on
sure.
What
so an audit is
difference.
exactly what you just described,
Yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DoD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So
what is
now
it
it's a question of it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where.
Why not?
That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
Yeah.
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure
that
I didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went. Like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases and they see...
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good... we should be talking... I mean,
Well,
I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go other than the dollars, which really bother you.
I think it doesn't really bother me. I think it's all connected.
Okay.
I think
tell
when
me,
I
tell
look...
me that story. Tell me how you're thinking about that.
When I see a State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that, and I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services, and then that department that got that, I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's fucking corruption. I'm sorry. And if that blows your mind, and if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking and that it's not looking at the day-to-day reality of the people that you call the greatest fighting force in the world. So I get back to this idea of like, I'm not looking to pick a fight with you, but I am surprised at that the reaction to these questions are, you don't know what an audit is, bucko. Like, that's just weird to me.
Okay.
Yeah. And therein lies your problem right there. You see how smug and entitled to your money that woman is?
Ooh, I hate her.
Somebody tweeted, one of the representatives tweeted last week, so far they've only uncovered $18 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse. Only 18 billion?
Yeah.
they're on day 4.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these people have lost so much track of real life and reality that it's insane.
I don't even know what this would like, what the argument would be in your day-to-day life. Like, someone came into your house and like you had $500 in your purse, but they only stole 10. Like,
Right.
what are you bitching about? Like, dude, it was $10. Okay.
Right.
You still have 490. Why are we even talking about this? No, there's a bigger discussion here that you seem to not want to have.
No, they did.
About someone like, what was that, Greg?
Well, I was going to say they never address the money, though. That's the thing. It's always this circular firing squad where they're shooting at each other over like definitions.
Yeah.
And, you know, like Maxine Waters is out there today screaming about access to a building. And we're saying, but Mad Max, what about the billions of dollars they're uncovering? Well, we can't get in the building. They have access to our social security numbers. Yeah, this is PayPal people who never ever bothered anybody's, you know, personal information. And you can't even address the waste, fraud, and abuse. Address the numbers and stop addressing everything around the number.
Yeah,
And
they've been so focused on that for so many years, though, on using that as a tactic and as a weapon.
The playbook.
Like, yeah, it is part of the playbook of this is how you attack that, because we've been pulling our hair out for years. Like, how that's not what the discussion is.
Until
That's
Musk,
not,
you couldn't prove it until Musk went in there.
Right.
We all guessed it. We all suspected they were.
We all knew it.
But you couldn't do anything about it till Musk and his nerds went in with their AI algorithms and started plowing in to see what was going on. This is what we wanted. This is what we voted for. Fuck off.
Yeah, 100%. And I hope it doesn't end. The amount of people that I see on Facebook, I'm like, if you voted for that orange devil, I hope you're happy. And it's like, no, I'm thrilled. Absolutely
I'm thrilled. Couldn't be happier.
Thrilled. Couldn't be
Are
happier.
you starting to see the stories about people having buyer's remorse on Trump? And I'm thinking, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Everyone I know is cheering this.
Yeah,
the best part is
I haven't met the person yet.
There's a lot of
honestly,
people. There's a lot of people saying too, like, we didn't elect Elon Musk. I'm like, no, he was the whole time he was there. We elected him. We were all saying like, hey, Doge, them too.
Yeah.
This was part of the deal all along.
I can't wait to see where it goes. I think it was brilliant starting with U.S. aid so that you couldn't make the argument like he's going after grandma and grandpa's Medicare check. Like, you know, he's trying to push grandma off a cliff, you know, like that kind of shit. When it was U.S. aid about developing nations around the world and like, oh, we're putting out a fucking trans comic book in Peru. Awesome.
Right.
Like, easy to get around that and behind that.
Can
Like,
anybody explain to me the trans push? Like, why does the government want that so bad here and in other countries?
I think a lot
because
of
it makes us fight with each other. I think that's what so much of it is, a fight, like knowing that it's so divisive and like it's not a grassroots thing. That's the problem with it.
And also, I think a lot of it is also like this whole Bill Gates population control. There's too many people theory. Like we're going to destroy the planet and only the strong should survive or whatever. So they're getting a lot of people to sterilize themselves.
Yeah, but you're talking about tens of thousands. That just wouldn't put a dent in it.
That's why they're trying to put it everywhere and make it a bigger thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're in the beginning stage right now.
I mean, it's.
No, I think we're in the end stage.
Yeah, I think we're putting the kibosh on it.
I think we are too.
I really hope so.
What do you think, Greg? Do you hope they go after the Department of Education? Because
I want it shuttered.
The argument will be like, oh, the poor children. Oh my God, the poor children in class. If you get like, I think people have this misconception that that's where the learning happens. Never mind. Like it all makes sense now. When you look at, we pay the most per pupil of anywhere on planet Earth, and their test scores are abysmal. And you don't want any accounting for that. You don't want to look into that.
Honestly, I think it's our culture.
Yeah,
I think that too many parents don't care.
I agree.
It's become way easier to give them video games. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did all the poor children before 2010 survive?
Right, and I think
all this.
It's too easy not to parent your kids, and I will tell you, having two of my own, it's exhausting because they can beat you down.
Yeah.
But
It's tough.
but the school stuff is all about parental participation, supporting the teacher when they're right, because they're not always right. We've seen how many nuts there are teaching, and hiring better teachers and paying them a little better if possible. And if we find all this waste, fraud, and abuse, and we get rid of the Department of Education, there should be more money for the frontline workers.
What does the Department of Education even do outside of being the union for these fucking people? Like, what? I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about it. My guess is they're going to find a lot of bullshit going on there. I think you've hit on something really important though, and that's the parental role. I think we've proved that no matter how much money you throw at a problem, California proved this by spending trillions on the homeless problem and made it substantially worse.
Yep.
And then you find out you have people on the boards making hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's turned into a career for them, the homeless thing. And then at that point, you don't want to fix the problem because then you're driving yourself out of a
Yep.
gig. It's the same with the Al Sharptons of the world. You got to keep racism alive. Otherwise, there's no need for Al Sharpton's grift.
Well, it's the same with same with big pharma. You don't want to cure disease,
right?
Or you're out of business.
Yeah. Well, it'll be, I can't wait to see where it goes, how this plays out. But I'm mind blown at how many people are fighting it. I don't think they're going to matter though. I think they're in such a minority. I hope anyway.
Over.
Yeah.
All that shit's over. The grift is over. The DEI is over. The political correctness is over. And it has to be defeated resoundingly, like with 2 terms of J.D. Vance, followed with a term of Ivanka Trump. You know what I mean? Then Barron's eligible and we're good to go. You know what I mean? It's got to be resoundingly defeated. And I think that's what you're seeing too, is the last gasps of these far left nuts.
But the parents aspect of it, that's where I was going to go with this.
Yeah.
The parental aspect of it is really important. It's not lost on me that it takes a lot. This is the first time in my life that I'm around a kid, right? He's 10. And I see how much involvement it requires. And, I've been around my sister and her husband and their kids, and they're the same age, 9 to 11. And, and I saw them when they were toddlers, and you'd go to a restaurant, and for parents, like, it really is, this thing is fucking amazing when you can just go, put that in front of them. And they it's the greatest pacifier ever. It just is. Like, but I couldn't help thinking to myself, and I'm in no position to judge anybody. I understand what being a 24-hour parent looks like, and I don't want any part of it, to be honest with you. But when they're little, like, it's really hard to not take advantage of that stuff. Like, thank God I got an iPad. Otherwise, you have to teach them at the table how to behave, how to be patient, how to read a menu, how to, like, it is a lot easier to just go, just get them the chicken fingers and let them watch whatever the hell they're doing.
Or sit there and draw with them and engage. It's difficult, and it can beat you down. I mean, there are times where I was just like, God, I can't deal with this for another minute. You know, and I had good ones. Mine weren't out of control, but when they get older, it doesn't get any easier because you want them off the video games, and they're bitching and screaming to stay on the video games.
Oh yeah.
It only gets worse.
Yeah, that's what I fear, because I see stuff.
Grown men like Garrett's age who can't control themselves on video games.
Oh yeah, it's the same as porn. It's like porn addiction or video game addiction. But it's tough. But that's a larger problem in like societal, that so many people like. We're gonna sound antiquated, but my dad was one of those like, yeah, dude, kids are to be seen, not heard. Like, you're not part of the discussion. Oh, are you paying? You're not part of the discussion about where we're going on vacation, where we're going to dinner. Like, no, kindly fuck off. And I feel like that was,
that was my family.
Well, yeah, it just seems like it seems obvious to me. Like, nothing bums me out more when it's like, oh, Marshall doesn't like that. Well, fucking Marshall will deal with it then. Or he can have a glass of water and shut the fuck up.
That's how they learn their coping skills, when they get told no.
Yeah.
Otherwise, after so many years of always acquiescing, and I see parents do this all the time. I see people do it with their fucking dogs. at the dog park.
Yeah.
Everyone needs
Yeah.
some discipline, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Dogs love it too. Like,
And
actually,
I think like if you get kids at that age and it's like, hey, you know what? It's your birthday. Where would you like? There's room for it.
Right.
To go, where would you like to go on your birthday, which is today? And the kid goes, I want to go here, and it's like, fine, you can give them a little bit, but
yeah,
for the most part, having them involved in the discussion about what's for dinner, where we're going, what we're doing here and there. Not that they don't have any say in anything, but like it does come down to that micro level of what you allow them to get away with and do. Like I don't know. It looks hard, but I think that's going to be a real problem. Like, oh, we strip all the money from, the Department of Education and all the fraud and bullshit. Well, you still have to deal with parents that have found an easy pacifier by just giving a kid a phone.
And teachers who don't want to teach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just are showing up to get their summers off. They're there to babysit. Some want to teach, some don't want to teach.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's tough. I look at these kids and I'm like, I wouldn't want anything to do with a room full of these things. No fucking way. So that I give them credit for that. Yeah.
Every day would be so difficult. I could do a room of kids once a week. It'd be fun and have, you could have some fun and do some cool shit. But man, every day, all day, listening to these little bastards who haven't been parented.
Yeah.
I mean, that has got to be a beating, man. Just a beating.
Yeah.
And my wife did it every day for 30 years. I don't know how she did it.
Yeah. Dealt with the kids. I know my sister's the greatest mom I've ever seen. It's incredible to watch. And
but she's teaching him to be a lib, right?
No, fuck no. No.
Oh, your sister. Oh, good.
Yeah. But
what about the warden?
Oh, the warden? No, not really. She,
You're trying to stay out of it, aren't you?
Oh, I stay way out of it, dude. It's not. I feel like it's not my place. Like I'm the uncle, and it's really. I think of it like it's really shitty for me to come in 10 years in and be like, oh, you're doing this wrong. Like, who the fuck am I? You know what I mean?
Guys don't do that. That's what women do.
Yeah,
with your no kids.
Guys don't do that, and it's very easy to be Johnny come lately, or I'm here for an hour a day to be like point out all your failures. Yeah. When I know even dealing with Marshall or Reed or Matt for an hour, it's like, okay, I got to get out of here. I need a break. I can't do one more art drawing with Madison, and her and I have a blast with it, and then it's like I got to get out of there. So I'm hardly in the position to deal with these things for 12 straight hours, 15 straight hours, and then be judgy guy. So
no, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone wants that guy around anyways. And I do it enough to G where I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. That kid seems like a fucktard today. Like it's kind of a dick behaving like that on my part.
Right.
And Marshall's a good kid. So it's not that rough. He's actually starting cross country today.
Nice.
Yeah, which is
the hell with cross.
You think you'll bully some people like you? Try and fit in?
Maybe. Of all sports, it's like, oh my God, could you pick a dumber sport than cross country? Like to me, like you're running around all day. Like, I don't know. The people that love it. So hey, getting him involved in anything is great with me though.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. Like get around your friends, let these guys grow a little bit, talk some shit, you need to be around those kids and away from your parents to do that stuff. So that I'm excited for.
Yeah, that's what my youngest does. He talks a lot of shit with his stupid hockey friends.
Oh yeah, I hear it in the background, like when he's playing video games and he's got his buddies. And they're talking shit about all. And you're just like, they think they're the first ones. Say? Oh yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah. They think they're the first ones to come up with it.
You threaten to tell his mom.
That's what G does. G's the biggest pussy. G's just like, all right, I'm gonna call your mom. I'm calling your mom. I'm like, you don't even.
He pulls out his shoe.
I'm calling your mom. All right, that's it, Buster. I'm gonna fucking call your mom. Like it's constant.
Yeah,
that's his go-to. It's hilarious.
See, the problem in my house was the lines I always used came from my parents, so they were more like, "Oh shit, we should probably not use that one next time."
Yeah, well, Marshall hears plenty too, but that threat of like the discipline, G's not that guy. He's the guy that wants to stay out of it for the most part, which I totally relate to. Like,
I get it.
I don't know how mom's dealing with this one, but thank God she's here. Yeah. I don't want to deal with this. By the way, Doge terminated another thing today, a multi-million-dollar virtual reality project that taught our soldiers how to have difficult conversations, which is great. I'm sure this is going on with Russia's military, China's military as well.
Did you hear about the other thing today that happened?
What?
They found the person who leaked the ICE agent's location.
Good. String them up.
They're going for criminal charges now.
Good. I want someone in jail for that. I don't care if it's a weekend.
It's an FBI agent.
Yeah, of course it is. They knew it was. Holman knew it was an FBI agent. Dude, if you think about that for a second, and I know there's some people championing this and praising this, think about the danger you put these guys in when they're going on an early morning raid when people are sleeping to go. The whole point is to handle a job that needs to be handled without resorting to gang warfare. Like, that's the point. And you're going to tip them off. By the way, they're coming at 4 a.m. on Friday.
Against Tren de Aragua?
Against Tren de Aragua, exactly.
Right.
Like, I don't know how people can defend it. I heard people championing it. It's funny. There was a TV station or radio station did you hear about that in Northern California? It was at San Francisco. Yeah. In San Jose. Doesn't surprise me at all. It's an Odyssey station. Yeah.
Owned by?
Huh?
Owned by now?
Was it one of the Soros ones?
George Soros bought Odyssey.
Yeah, they're going to pull the plug on that, by the way.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think the FCC is going to get involved and yank that because that didn't go through the proper channels. There's a lot of stuff that goes on before you can make a purchase like that, and the FCC they tried to ram that through the last days of Biden before the election with Soros and that purchase. So I think they'll. I heard Glenn Beck talking about it, and he was saying that they're taking another look at that, which is great. But this radio station in San Jose was going on the air and saying stuff like, "Hey, the ICE is outside such and such a building. They're in an unmarked car," and giving the description of it. They're talking about yanking that station's fucking license.
They should.
I hope they do. Can you imagine the message that would send? You have to at some point put, like, you are going against the process at that point and putting lives in danger. Whether you agree with the idea or not, you are inserting yourself as a media outlet, talking to your community. And Greg, I don't need to tell you, but the difference between a podcast and a radio broadcast is that license that you have. And when, you probably know more about what the FCC license entails and what your liabilities are and what that responsibility is to a community.
Right. You're supposed to broadcast in the community interest. And they'll probably try to make the case that they were. But the bulk of the community is going to say, nah, you weren't. You were being disingenuous. You were trying to circumvent the law, and that's where they're going to get them. I mean, the station in San Francisco lost a license when a lady died because she held her piss too long.
Yeah, right. Right. Or the guys that drink water to win a PlayStation.
Yeah, that was her. Hold your wee for a wee.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, there's been a few of these. Like, I remember, and I've probably talked about it before. I'm sorry to repeat, but I produced Trudy's News for a brief period, for probably 6 months, when I came back to Riff from Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo and Lansing, and she would prepare her newscasts, and she would save the stories that she did, and she would cut and paste them on sheets of paper, and then she would file them away. And I was like, what are you doing? And it was like, if there was an audit on the station and she had to, as the news director at Riff, be able to show that a certain percentage of her stories were in the community's best interest. And I don't ever remember it coming up. I'm sure you could ask her about it and she would know, but she had to be able to prove, like, I did 4 newscasts on this show, and these 2 stories,
we do it every quarter. We have to send them every quarter.
Right. And so those might be like, oh, this story relates to some charity drive, some food can drive that's going on at the local grocery store. And I reported on it to the community, which drove stuff there. And so, so when you're doing charity drive stuff, that like keeps you honest with your FCC license. And so these guys have a responsibility. And so if you yank someone's license to broadcast,
millions of dollars.
And I think if you set that precedent, that story goes nationwide and all the ghouls will come out and be like, oh, this is a dictatorship. They're yanking licenses of people that disagree with Trump. It's
constitutional crisis.
What message do you think that would send to GMs and PDs around the country, though? If you did that, never mind the chirping liberals that are going to go, oh my God, we're subverting democracy.
Right.
What message do you think that would send if you did that to a San Francisco station and yanked their license?
If that happens, I promise you, every radio guy on air will have a memo in their inbox the next day.
Yeah.
Saying, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't get involved in the federal government's, business. Let them do their jobs.
Yeah.
That's what happened with getting the vax. That's what happened with COVID. They basically memoed you and said, toe the party line.
Yeah. And you remember a day when I think your broadcast went a little south of the federal government, one Jamie Samuelson.
Jamie made an innocuous comment that if Bill Clinton was lying about having sex with if he had sex with Monica Lewinsky in the White House, he should be shot.
Is that what he said exactly?
That's all he said. And they showed up. The Secret Service showed up looking for me because everyone thought it was me.
Of course they thought it was you.
Yeah. And I said, you need to go talk to Superlib. He said it, not me.
You need to go talk to the guy that voted for your guy.
Right. You're right.
Dude, he was scared about that 10 years later.
Shitless.
Yeah. I've never seen him like pucker up that much when I asked him about it.
When
he was still.
Anytime Clinton came to Detroit, they had to know where Jamie was. Fucking Jamie of all people, right?
That's great.
Dude, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
All right, you got to get out of here, Greg.
Yeah, I got a few minutes to get to the park. She's waiting. She's been begging me for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're good. Garrett and I will wrap this up. Oh, I did want to ask you, though, did you see, what do you make of this Lauren Boebert Kid Rock story?
Which one? Are they banging?
It's what it sounds like, maybe.
It's
pretty hot. I mean, that picture over there.
Oh, she looks good. She's dumb as a box of rocks, but
yeah. There's times I like what's coming out of her mouth, and sometimes I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But
I don't even care what's coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, no. She was seen, dude. She ditched that husband of hers. I think he cheated on her, and so she's getting out there, and so she's getting groped and vaping in the.
Oh, look, there's our liberal.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Mama.
She's flipping you off.
She flipped us off.
We were at her desk, so now she's in here.
Greg was telling us all about what a Doge fan you are.
That's my mouse.
Yeah.
He loves Trump.
I love it doggy style. Is that till 10? Okay, that's not needed.
Yeah, all right.
Bye.
But yeah, she was apparently seen chatting up Kid Rock and dancing with him and fangirling at the inaugural ball. And then they were seen getting in a cab together at 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, I think he's engaged. I don't know. I might send some feelers out into the Kid Rock circles and see if there's anything. I mean, it could have just been like, yeah, we're going to the same hotel.
Yeah,
we'll have to find it. Yeah, right.
It probably was something like, hey, we hit it off. We're friends, and we were at the same hotel that night.
Yeah, they were going for a nightcap.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in that situation in a cab, and you can check out, Greg. You can take off.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll see you. Have a good one.
I'll text you later. I've definitely been in that situation though, where I've gotten in a cab with a chick at the end of the night, and it was 100% of the time not because we were just going to the same hotel room, or I mean, same hotel. Like she's in this room and I'm in that. Like, no, that was never the case. So I don't know, but I can you Google and see is Kid Rock still engaged to Audrey Berry? They got engaged in 2017. I don't know that they ever got married. But again, this is the press. So TMZ reported this and others are reporting this.
Yeah, it says they are as of January 20th.
Okay. Well, I don't want to get kid in any trouble.
No.
But yeah. Anyway, that was fun. I wish we could have gone deeper with the Secret Service showing up to the radio station.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dude. And the funny thing is, I remember asking Jamie about it when we worked together. It was just like, Greg would have laughed about it, but this idea that you'd need to check up on Jamie Samuelson
every time the presidents are on,
hilarious that you end up on a fucking watch list. They need to know about your whereabouts going forward anytime the president's in Detroit. That I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn funny. Did you see the FBI? The plans to release the JFK files.
Yeah.
They apparently found 2,400 new documents. So Trump signed the executive order authorizing the release of the remaining classified records about the shooting. The White House was alerted on Friday that the FBI discovered about 14,000 pages of documents. And so the agency is reviewing the secret files in response to the order. This is huge. It shows the FBI has taken this seriously. Jefferson Morley, an expert on the Kennedy murder, told Axios. The FBI is finally saying, let's respond to the president's orders. Some people are furious, though, saying, no, this is more deep state bullshit, kind of slow rolling the president's order. And when Trump finds out about it, he's going to hit the roof. So I don't know. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Garrett?
Nothing yet, because it's still very up in the air.
Yeah, I don't.
I know they had I'm trying to remember the name of the congressman. Just was dropped right now. Actually, as the show was going, I was looking into it.
What is that?
Warren Commission was trending.
Oh yeah, that's probably about this. Yeah.
Yep. So here's what I got right here for that, because that's what I was looking at a little bit throughout the show. Then is Representative Anna Luna shatters the Warren Commission's magic bullet theory, declaring with confidence that multiple assassins were involved in the JFK's murder. She claims that the original congressional hearing that backed the theory was fraudulent.
Yeah, I believe it. Let's hear her. Is that her speaking about it?
It's 16 seconds.
16 seconds, but
based on what I've been seeing so far, the initial hearing that was actually held here in Congress was actually faulty in the single bullet theory. I believe that there were two shooters, and we should be finding more information as we are able to gain access into the SCIF, hopefully before the files are actually released. Based on what I've been.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about the process of that. I think he gave them 15 days to release whatever they knew, and we've got to be getting close to that 15 days.
Yeah.
You know? And I really think it's gonna show that there were multiple shooters. I don't think there's just any denying those Parkland doctors who talk about the bullet in the front. There's no way Lee Harvey Oswald's bullet from the 6th floor depository building behind him caused that hole in the front of his throat.
Exactly.
There's no way. And so, you know, when I've seen people interviewed on the ground talking about there were bullets coming from over that fence, and there's people that think there were more than two.
Yeah,
there were bullets whizzing around that area. So I don't know. Interesting though. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't buy the Lee Harvey Oswald thing. I hope there's information on this. I really think you know, what Kash Patel dropped about what you're really going to find out is this has continued. That I think you're going to, what I fear we're going to see is there's a lot of similarities to other things throughout history that these agencies have been involved in.
Yeah, I think recently it just came out. These are mostly rumors, but a whistleblower came out of the Pennsylvania police commission saying that the Senator Shapiro was involved in the Trump assassination.
Yeah, I see.
I don't know how good it is, but
yeah,
it's a whistleblower coming out and saying that.
People need to be really careful about this stuff. We mentioned the other day on the show, and I'm almost glad you brought that up for this reason. We did the story, and I think I was responsible enough to say I have no idea if this is true, but it wouldn't surprise me. And that was about Angelina Jolie and Ben Stiller getting all these millions of dollars to go to Ukraine. And that's the thing you're seeing a lot of online. You're seeing a lot of stories like that. And I don't know if it's meant to muddy the waters, but the danger in saying something like that, like what you just did, George Shapiro, who's the Pennsylvania guy, saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm hearing that he was part of the assassination attempt on Trump." Maybe that story's true. I have no idea.
Like I said, it's just a whistleblower says that this is what's going on. That's all I know.
And I don't know anything about that. I heard that earlier today. But the problem is, if that turns out to be bullshit, that just leads all the people that want a lot of this stuff to stop and go away and get Doge out of here. The only way they can discredit you is by going, oh, yeah, like when you said Angelina Jolie was getting $20 million, that bullshit, fake news. Oh, you mean the time when you accused the governor of Pennsylvania of plotting to assassinate Trump?
Yeah.
If those don't happen to be true and you're sending that out, these memes, because these memes are everywhere. You're seeing them everywhere. And so many of them I want to believe are true. I want to believe it because I'm of the firm belief that these people have had no accountability my whole life.
Yeah.
Certainly your whole life, Garrett, that they can do what they want. They truly are the ones that are above the law, no accountability. They're the ones that can spend, 20 grand on fucking new screws for a plane and, $5,000 for a toilet seat.
80
all
million
of those
for water bottles.
Right. Like all those stories so it doesn't, that's why you wouldn't necessarily just discount it well, yeah, if you're willing to spend $10,000 on 5 screws for a plane, then why wouldn't you spend $5 million to, help with the narrative in Ukraine by sending Ben Stiller there, or $20 million to Angelina Jolie? Does it seem like that far of a stretch? Not to me. It doesn't to me, but it will be a problem going forward if these stories are bullshit, like the Angelina Jolie and Ben Stiller story was, if people are throwing those memes around a lot and, and then acting like they're fact. Because I've seen some people do that. Like, look what these motherfuckers have been doing, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but that story's not true, man. So I don't know. That Shapiro one, I don't even know what that full story is. I kind of went, if that's true, we'll know. But
yeah, I figured if that's true, something will pop off soon.
What is the story? Do you know in a nutshell? Or?
Just in a nutshell, a whistleblower from the Department of Justice over in Pennsylvania has come forward saying that he has documents and stuff saying that Shapiro was involved in the assassination somehow, like in a sense of like calling the hit or maybe hiding something, or it just, I don't know exactly what he said, but it just said it's rumored to come out, and I don't know anything past that. I was trying to read it during the show yesterday.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know. If that's true, I would hope that the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the rest would report on it. But we are in a weird time, man. This is going to get really weird if these outlets try to stay in this lane of not covering stuff that they don't necessarily agree with, people in power positions that they don't agree with. If they're going to try to stay in that zone of not covering them, I don't know how many people are covering this. Nancy Mace today on C-SPAN delivered a speech on the floor of the House. Actually, it was last night, where she claims she uncovered a ring of men who engaged in serial rape and sex trafficking while filming their victims. So she's obviously the South Carolina rep. Brought a series of props, a drinking glass, and here she is with the predators. She identified the perps by name, even given the towns they live in. I will burn this system to the ground if I have to. Today I'm going scorched earth. She says she gained access to the information after going through the phones and digital equipment of the man she claims was just one of the 4 predators. She used it to contact another woman whom she learned was raped, documenting almost a dozen victims. One person she identified was her ex-fiance, who's on the left on that picture, Patrick Bryant. He has, of course, denied the claims. I categorically deny these allegations. Take this matter seriously and will cooperate fully, blah, blah, blah. Another person responded, I unequivocally deny all the allegations made against me. Baseless, repugnant, and defamatory. I intend to fight this in a court of law. Nancy Mace said, this monster stole my body. It felt like I had been raped. He stole my body without my permission, without my knowledge, without my consent. Well, let's hear her. She went on for a half hour on the floor.
And someone filmed it. One night in 2022, I found myself at a property owned by Patrick Bryant and Brian Musgrave on the Isle of Palms in South Carolina. Business partners Patrick Bryant and Eric Bowman were both there. I was served 2 small vodka sodas, like this glass right here, 2 small vodka sodas, like anyone would have at their neighborhood restaurant. A short time later, I blacked out. I have never blacked out after having a vodka soda or any adult beverage ever in my life. It's never happened. But I know who has. The women raped on those tapes that I saw, the women raped that I spoke to over the course of the last year. The stories of these women were all too familiar. Now I know why. My memories of that night are just flashes in and out of the dark, flashes in and out of the night. I was raped that night. Was it Patrick Bryant? I don't know. But I was raped. I believe that they purposely incapacitated me. Was anyone else there? Was it filmed? Was it sold on the dark web? I have no idea. But I know what these men do to their victims. I learned firsthand about the weaponization of government going through this trauma because I met it.
So she says, I saw another video of another woman who was undressed, clearly on a camera, unaware she was being filmed. She was slender. She had long brown hair. I turned up the volume to hear if there was audio. I heard my voice. Oh, shit. I zoomed in on the video, and that woman was me. Holy shit.
That's fucked.
Yeah. She says, now, this is where this gets troubling. And I would say for women out there, and I know some of them that are so anti-Trump that anyone in Trump's orbit is dead to them. Like the Nancy Maces of the world are talking about this openly on the fucking House floor, right? That she is talking about what so many women have talked about being drugged and raped, filmed, and finding more victims. You might want to listen to her story. Now, I don't know if it's true. She claims she contacted law enforcement, which elected not to pursue the case. That sounds insane.
Yeah.
She does not specify how she handed over the information she obtained. She said the state did not accept additional physical evidence from her late last year. The Daily Mail has reached out to the South Carolina Attorney General's office, as well as individuals Mace has identified. The AG's office told the State, which is a newspaper, that no case was ever referred to its office. A more fulsome statement from the AG called the accusations categorically false and accused Mace of mischaracterizing the role of the AG. At this time, our office has not received any reports or requests for assistance from any law enforcement or prosecution agencies regarding these matters. The statement further states that Mace and the AG have been at multiple events together and that she has the Attorney General's personal cell number. And not once has she approached or reached out to him regarding her concern, which seems insane.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem crazy that she's saying I went to law enforcement and they didn't do anything?
And if she's making claims like that on the House floor, she's opening herself up to be sued, like fully legally sued. So she has to make sure that her claims are correct. Like that's the only way she's safe in that, is that her claims are 100% the facts. By going onto the House floor, I think that you're guaranteeing that that's on the record. That's preserved. Like, you know, I think she would fall into the, you know, defamation world if she put that in a book, said it on a radio show or a podcast, anywhere. But I mean, but that's going to be preserved in the record. Like there's a reason she went Monday night, end of the day, and then went, I'm going scorched earth.
and then went for 30 minutes on this. So it just seems insane that you would be that reckless if you didn't have some shit to back up your story.
Exactly.
And again, I don't know. I don't know what the AG knows, I don't know if making a simple claim to police would necessarily get up to the Attorney General's desk. I don't know how that process would work. It would seem like a sitting congresswoman that would be taken seriously.
Yeah.
My guess is we haven't heard the last of this, but yeah, kind of crazy. All right, let's do some email and get out of here, Garrett. And I also want to mention a new member, Albert Fadul. Albert, thank you, brother, for joining up. We're going to try to grow this thing. I have a goal to pay people.
Twitter chat all the time.
What's that?
I see him in the Twitter chat all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, he's an interactive guy.
I love it. Thank you, Albert. I won't even do like hey, Fat Albert references or anything like that. But thank you, brother, for being here. Thank you for chiming in. If he's got good tweets, Garrett, make me aware of them.
All right.
Anybody that does. We set James off a bit. The email I read the other day about the guy from Canada who had dual citizenship.
Yeah.
His name Brian. I think his name is Brian. Who really laid his point out. Unfortunately, Brian, I'm not that bright. And so a lot of it went over my head when you're talking about international trade laws, and it had to do with, tariffs and how damaging that would be to America and this. But he was trying to say, like, hey, man, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm a citizen of both the U.S. and Canada. I love America, blah, blah, blah. But I think this would be bad. Well, James heard it. Commie to the north.
Southeast, depending where you're at.
What's that?
Southeast, depending where you're at.
Take your commie ass back up north and have a glass of shut the fuck up, traitorous fence sitter Brian. I hope Brian understands that James comes in a little hot sometimes.
Spoken like an American.
Yeah, it's what they do. Don't take offense. He comes at me this hot. He comes at all of us this hot. So, he
Not
said,
me. We get along.
I know he likes you, of course. You both batshit crazy. So it's cool. So you traitorous fence sitter, Brian, or pick the U.S. and throw that commie dual citizenship in the trash. He doesn't take issue with what he said. He doesn't
He just wanted to call out a Canadian.
Yeah, he just wanted to call a Canadian with American citizenship a commie.
I have a running joke with a friend I play video games with who lives in Canada, and every time I'm near the border or at the bridge, there's a middle finger and a photo for him.
Where does that? Say that again.
I got a friend over in Canada, and anytime I'm around the border or the bridge to Canada, I just give him the finger and I send him a photo.
Oh man, our Canadian listeners are not going to like that.
That's fine.
Great, we have some great Canadian listeners.
They can send it back. I welcome it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Waste Management Open. Does Fellhauer have a younger brother? That kid sounded like him.
Kind of looked like him too.
No, not really. Did you think so? The kid that was going off about Hitler and stuff. Do you still have that video?
Yeah.
I mean, he was slurring his words and drunk as shit. Fellhauer doesn't sound like that.
Here we go.
And then, all right.
Oh, right here.
Mm-hmm. Listen, because you guys are goddamn border hopper niggers.
What?
Right, don't listen to him.
What did you say about Mexican men?
Do you know what 1444 means? Your number.
He doesn't sound like Fellhauer at all. Shut up. That's hilarious. And no, he doesn't look like him either. He looks like a punk ass little kid.
All right.
Which he is. Waste Management kid. Mike, hold on. You cut the clip off too early. Maybe he brought it full circle and made a good point. Have him on the show so he can share his side.
At the very end, he just is what I would say if I was a racist man.
Yeah, maybe.
Obviously, I don't believe any of this.
To Garrett's point, that dude sucks so hard he doesn't have friends to shut him the fuck up when necessary.
Yeah.
The sole reason I have all my teeth is because I had good buddies in my 20s. I never did shit like that kid. But I have been in plenty of bars where I've seen the bottom of a bottle and needed a good friend to step in and get me home. Yeah, I know that place too. I definitely have had those. I think we all have.
Yeah.
Your generation doesn't drink as much as we do. So those of us that are a little older than you, Garrett, like that's what you did. You just it's remarkable to me. When Troy's daughter had her 21st birthday at my house, I was like, holy shit. There were 50 kids, 20 years old, 21 years old. I guess they were all legal.
Yeah.
Having all of them over, I thought it was going to be a shit show. And they were very respectful, and like they
Just
weren't
use the pool, put their drinks away.
Yeah, cleaned up the next day. Like, were there 2 kids that got a little overserved? Yeah. But for the most, like, dude, I'm telling you, when I was growing up, like 100%, me and a handful of buddies would have been jumping off the roof into the pool. 100%. Multiple of us would have been banging chicks in rooms upstairs. 100% that would have happened. Like none of that shit happened. So I don't know if it was just that group of friends. Maybe there's
we got legal weed now, so a lot of the partying is a little more laid back.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a lot of sitting around. There's a good song on you. Oh, dude, I like this shit. Yeah.
It seems like a waste because you guys have like Uber at your beck and call now, where you don't have to. Like back in the day, we didn't have that. It was like you drove your ass home. So
no, there's still parties and stuff. But
are there? Do you guys get crazy ever? Do you see people get fucking
like college towns especially? It's the same as old. You know, you're never gonna have a college town that isn't totally trashed after a football game.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just maybe it was just the circles I ran in, but I know what Connor's talking about when he's talking about like, oh, there were times when I needed my friends to drink. But like, yeah,
I've been there,
like, dude. That was commonplace to see guys just absolutely shit-faced, girls absolutely shit-faced.
No, back when I lived in Livonia, it was great to have a bar within walking distance. So when I knew it was time to go, I was like, I'm gonna stumble my ass home. I'm done.
Yeah, I did that when I lived in Royal Oak.
Yep.
And Berkeley. I lived right down the street from the Berkeley front. Was literally at the end of my street. So it was just
I knew the exact limit where I'd have just enough fuel in the tank to get myself home.
See, that's the difference right there, you pussy. There was a limit where it's like, oh, I'm at my limit.
I knew my limit.
You just fucking plowed past your limit and then puked and pissed behind the bar. And
I never found the fun in that. I found more fun in just getting to that point, having a great time doing it. And then once I'm there, I'm like, all right, we're good. I'm going to make sure I don't fuck this up for tomorrow.
You're an embarrassment.
Sure.
Absolute embarrassment. No, you go blazing past that line, Garrett. That's how it's done. You make a fool of yourself, and then you wake up the next day and you wonder what you did. I'm glad those days are behind me, by the way.
See, I have social media to worry about, though. I'll end up on a video like the open kid, you know?
Well, the open kid's 19, and he was that guy. Now, what he was saying, I don't remember anyone having those statements in bars.
No, but if a guy got close to it back at a party, they just get punched and it'd be over.
Yeah, I guess. But definitely that slurring bullshit, going on a soapbox rant, that guy was in every bar. So anyway.
You get a very drunk Paul Dawson speech. That'd be about it.
The N-word?
Yeah, you definitely, there's always been that one guy in the bar like, listen, I'm not saying it with the ER, all right?
Yeah.
I'm saying it with the like the song playing.
Yeah, I don't even remember those conversations. Honestly, I don't. Maybe
those are conversations I've had.
Oh, I'm sure you have. All right, we'll call it a day there. We'll be back tomorrow, and have a great rest of the day, everybody. Walters at DetroitCast.com. Send your email, send your thoughts on any of the topics we're talking about or anything at all. I've got quite a busy day. We moved everything out of the studio, and they're coming to prep tomorrow for carpet. So Thursday. That should be finalized, and it's moving forward.